I'm just here to cause problems.
That's right.
Call meeting to order. Notice the meeting was properly posted June 8, 2017. The first item is discussion of possible action to approve the minutes from the regular meeting on 5/8/17.
Move approval.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Item 4, are there anything?
That carried with a vote of 1. Did you vote?
Aye.
I didn't hear you.
No.
That's...
Aye.
Randy, I'm sitting right next to him, and I didn't hear him either.
No.
Make sure we do everything legal.
Improper.
Okay. So item 4, is there anything to discuss on items A through H? Would you like to discuss any of those items? Anything new, Stacy?
And item D, we have the exterior maintenance out to bid. It's been advertised.
Okay.
I think is there a pre-bid? I can't remember the date, but it's coming up. And then on the lighting, been some pictures taken. That one's on the west elevation.
Where's Matthew McConaughey?
What? That's upside down.
I know, but I'm looking at the... You know how those,
Trees grow from out.
those Lincoln commercials, Matthew McConaughey is kind of the same.
Well, can the audience members see it? Because if Matthew McConaughey's in there,
I said he's not.
The interesting thing, that picture, the lighting exposes the shading of that exterior fascia.
The parts that are falling off.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but it may need some further investigation of what's going on there.
Very interesting.
It's just character.
Randy, these are your lights that you wanted so bad. You want to...
I actually like it.
Okay.
Beautiful.
This week?
Light them up orange and blue.
Okay.
Or white and red.
Just leave the orange on.
Yeah, Wednesday at 2 is the pre-bid for the exterior maintenance.
This Wednesday?
Yep.
What does the exterior maintenance consist of?
Well, sealing the building, and then the wires for the lighting will be tucked in, and then we'll probably do the windows, washing.
Washing the windows?
Yeah.
Wow. Any other items to discuss? Any changes?
We're moving forward on E, the ninth floor. Had a pretty good week last week.
Went up there last week. What are they doing? I hear the deal. I know that all the AB's finished, but
They're getting all the plumbing cut out, gas and unnecessary water and.
okay. That makes sense. That's why the stuff is laying around.
How are we coming on the lower roof on G?
Over 50% done. Project's going well.
Have you submitted any reimbursements for any of that?
Yeah.
You know, wait till it's entirely finished?
Well, yeah, each project.
Okay.
We'll submit them project by project.
And my favorite one, what's up with fire notification system? Where are we at with that? Same spot again?
No news that I know of.
Everything's been, did they fix the final 2 or 3?
To the best of my knowledge, everything is done, but Simplex Grinnell won't green tag it until they can test every device. And they can't test the devices in the kitchen right now while it's undergoing renovation, which may be months.
That's
So,
pushes into.
Yeah, yellow tagged, but off the fire watch.
And then the labor commission, are they?
You know, I have to send, I think by the end of this month, I have to send them another request to
For
extend it.
extension. Okay. All right. Motion to receive, now accept.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item 5, discussion, review, and possible action regarding remediation of the mold project at the Oklahoma County Jail. Stacy.
We had the pre-bid last week. We had 5 or 6 contractors show up, so hopefully we'll get some bids. One contractor I know come back for a second visit this morning, so we do have some interest. Those bids open in a couple of weeks.
That could be scary. Randy, anything? Sorry, any motion? Motion to receive.
Now, yeah, I'm gonna receive.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, item 6. Discussion, review, and possible action regarding survey, parking, and legal documents transfer to Bottom Minor Shelter.
Yeah, we're trying to get the survey completed. We do have a surveyor on board. The BOCC approved that contract last week. And basically the footprint that is going to go along with that deed is what this body needs to discuss. Here's the requested footprint that came from DHS. It's highlighted in yellow.
All right.
Yeah, that's the one the court has some problems with, because it takes away my judge's parking.
Why wouldn't we just do that to that row? Keep all this over there.
Entrance.
But just completely redoing the building, so they could do the entrance here. Potentially, I don't know.
Yeah, go right ahead.
If, I'm not sure exactly what you're looking at, but if that
Oh,
was
you-
the
come on.
sketch that we sent to you months ago, then the email a couple of weeks ago, Stacy, I'd indicated that we are willing to pull back on that parking along the front. When we sent this, we weren't aware of the judge's parking in front of the shelter. And I think what I sent you a while back, Stacy, is if this will be the main entrance to our building, if we can have parking so we can set up some handicap parking there, and then the parking to the north. I don't think anybody that uses a juvenile justice building is really gonna be interested in that because it's so far away. If we can have that for the public and then some parking in the back, which I think this would probably, in the back, would probably just be first come, first served for everyone that parks back there.
Right.
So on the other side that would remain for the judges and the juvenile bureau, would those just be notated with signage or?
I think it is right now, if I'm
So
not
we'll continue?
mistaken. Yeah, it would just, as far as we're concerned, it would just continue as is. Because, and I may be wrong, I haven't really looked at what the signage says, but these first parking places do have signage, and they're not ADA parking.
There's hundreds of reasons, they don't identify as being the judge's parking for obvious
Security reasons?
Yeah, that they are identified as being reserved, and they have an entrance right here that only the judges use into the juvenile justice, into their office space. So those five are really the only 5.
So you only need 5?
Well, and irregardless of which side of the building, or if it's both, one thing that I think we'll need to remember is the county's gonna need to keep an easement for ingress and whatnot to the backside here, and then also to these parking spaces there. Right.
I haven't been advised about the need for an easement code. So you can do it.
Well, I mean, I guess the question is, with the deeding of the building, was there any discussion of parking spaces? I mean, again, I don't know that we need that, because I don't know that we promised that. Are you talking about to access to the building itself, or just to the parking lot?
No, to the parking lot, because here's my concern.
Because they're not fencing off, DHS isn't fencing off any parking lot or anything.
No, but if we did convey this property to, say, here, to them, and then we kept these spots here, and then, of course, we'd have these here. And if we conveyed this to them, that's a drive right down through there, and we'll have parking here, and to get access back to here, I think we would definitely want an easement or something to be able to come across.
I think we need to look at the legal description to see what extent any parking
It's not delineated, I don't think, Randy.
lot or spaces, so it's just gonna be reserved to the building.
It's just, right now, the county just flat owns it, there's nothing platted, within that area, it's just how it was constructed, from what I've seen.
Right.
But if you do carve out something, and you want to reserve an easement, or a right-of-way, or something, that the surveyor needs to know that, so it could, the deed would say. And it's not gonna be a lot type description, it's gonna be full legal, resident accept the following, which is reserved by Oklahoma County as a right-of-way. Put that in language.
But I do think you were right in your initial statement that the granting was for the building and not parking spots specifically.
And
so.
here's the situation I want to avoid is, because, I mean, parking always seems to be an issue in any sort of lease agreement, or when you have two different entities operating kind of in the same area. It's just parking is just always, it's just an issue. You also have the question about maintenance and things like that, and well, are you responsible for maintaining these 10 parking spots, or are we? And how, okay, we're gonna come in and we're going to do some updating to our parking lot, but not yours. Are you guys going to? Are you gonna have, and so, again, I bring that up just to say, I think it would be simpler, more efficient, in the best interest of everyone, the county retain all of the parking lot, parking spaces, and all of those things, and if we need to grant an easement to DHS to then have use of a certain number of parking spaces, again, knowing that their clients and things like that may be parking in the back row, and they're not there for delinquent or deprived or judicial things, they may be just there for the, family tree program. That's fine, but, they need a certain number of employee parking spots, just like we need our judge parking spots.
Randy, I don't think there are any parking police out there except for maybe the judge's fund. So, if it's a big lot, nobody really knows who's going where. They're just happy to find a parking spot.
But in the past, we had issues with Chesapeake employees parking there, and we had to, talk to them and things like that.
But I think that on the flip side, and Stacy can articulate this, is that whether or not it would be proper to make a conveyance without adequate parking.
Well, you got zoning issues at the city.
That's what-
You're gonna have to give access to parking by easement, so they can get their count, or you're gonna have to just convey it to them directly. You can do it either way. I'm sure they have a preference, and we have a preference, and then, so you've got an issue on the table.
But with regard to future maintenance, if
Randy makes a point about maintenance.
if the county has the majority of the lot, I don't know how good people's memories are.
Assume not very.
Yes, I know. I mean, in a perfect world, they would approach DHS and say, we intend to, pay the lot, would you like us to pay yours, and will you contribute, enter into some kind of agreement? With poor memory, my guess is it'll just all get paid.
Which is likely that would happen, that the county just assumes it's all ours, and that's fine. And I would just rather get that way on paper. For the purposes of just making sure we don't get into any situation of working where we're not supposed to, even though I know it's the state, and
It happens.
we'd be fine, I think, but for what it's worth, I mean, that's
Now,
my
the county
cent and a
could
half.
not, there's this point, I don't know if the county could legally pay that without, any funds at all. I don't think that's allowed on the statute, so yes, they would have to contribute.
I know.
Or separately contracted.
But in Randy's scenario, if it was still retained by the county, then it's the county's parking lot, and it could.
And what's within this yellow area, Stacy, and again, I don't, is that being surveyed for expansion purposes?
Now, you're going to carve out something like that yellow to transfer to them.
Okay. Yeah, all right, I would recommend shrinking it up so that it is the structure, the building, and the land that the structure is on, and does not include parking lot or parking spaces, and we take care of that via easement too.
Is that a motion?
Does it need to? If yes, then yes. Because this is really multifaceted, so,
Gretchen, can you foresee any other legal issues doing it that way?
You have a crystal ball.
That's a loaded question.
My crystal ball, where's your map?
Right there.
The only other thing that I'm aware of that's just out there is that, CASA would like to erect a monument sign somewhere around here. And, I think they want it in front of that building. If you would convey that property for them to maintain and just deal with that sign on their own, it would simplify a lot of things. That's the only other issue I know about that's just kind of lingering.
Convey that to who?
To
COP?
DHS.
Or to DHS?
No, to
Okay.
DHS. I'm like constant work with DHS on that. But I think there's enough green space here for that. But however you want to work it on the parking, it's up to this committee.
So if it's a county-owned parking lot and we're just gonna kind of share the space, is it gonna be a free-for-all with the exception of potentially the 5 spots that are already demarcated for the judges, or are we going to mark additional spaces, you know, with paint or with signage that this is for, you know?
I think it's a free-for-all now.
It is.
No, I understand that it is, but is that the will going forward? Do we want to just keep it a free-for-all, or is that?
I think that we could, discuss with DHS, with Family Tree, see if they need reserved spots for volunteers, for particular staff or something like that. And again, we'd be willing to do that. I don't see an issue with that. We definitely need to protect the judge's spot. If they think that that's going to be an issue, getting the people that are there. Other than that, you know, when we're talking about the clients or the customers, yeah, I don't know that we need to reserve, this is for people coming for juvenile court versus these are people that are coming for Family Tree. Again, it's just kind of,
And they may be coming from us at the same time.
and very well could be coming for one and going to the other.
But here's my concern. Randy, can you push that over?
Absolutely.
Especially on this side. Being out there, a lot of times this here is just completely packed for juvenile.
Sure.
So I don't know what the traffic is gonna be over here, and if it is a free-for-all and nobody wants to park back here that's occupying this building, and so now all of a sudden you've got it all the way out to here with these folks, then it might be a severe impediment upon juvenile.
I would certainly.
So I think we should maybe.
But Renee has a really good point. The way it was presented at one point to me is that the reason they really want to use this particular location is that sometimes these families appear in front of the judge, and the judge says, have you completed this? Have you performed that? And they keep hearing excuses. I didn't have money for bus fare, or I couldn't get there, it's too far away. And now they can say, no excuses, you just walk 10 feet.
No, and I completely understand that, but.
For both purposes, not
But not everybody that's going to juvenile is going to be there for that other purpose. And I just want to make sure that, I know there's parking issues over there at juvenile, and I just want to make sure that juvenile isn't going to be burdened to a point that it's a detriment to them and their operation because of our goodwill.
Here, this would be my recommendation in terms of from what I've heard, it sounds like the best way is to transfer the building, give an easement for perhaps some of these back parking places, if they have certain employee members that need to go in there, but the public, if they're saying the front entrance is up here.
No. This is the...
Okay, so they would get the easements back here if they needed some for their employees, but the rest of this should just say, in other words, my recommendation would be to transfer the building. I understand that there are certain requirements that they must have some sort of parking place, so that's where you would give them an easement on the back side for their employees and not take any of this area that's used for the courts. People could still come either place there, but you can't enter the court back here, unless you got a little path.
And that's what I was saying too.
Yeah,
to keep the judge's area fine, and then you just let them also utilize this back here, but their entrance is on this front side.
Since their entrance is on that front side, that would make sense to me, is give them some parking easements back here and the building, but not transfer the parking at all, because that just gets into another nightmare, I think. And I wouldn't even suggest an easement, except Stacy said you got to have them so that they could get.
They would have to do cost share if we ever remake it. And that gets into messy nonsense, so it's easier just not to.
Well, and the other issue, your yellow line there, you get a slip and fall. Well, where were you in the parking lot? Were you on the side, this side of the yellow line, that side of the
You
yellow
bring
line?
up a good point. We should give them all of the parking lot.
Yeah.
Right. So, yes, I would move that,
To instruct.
yes, to instruct, are we gonna instruct, you think, Stacy?
He's the one.
You shall be instructed upon this motion.
Shall not may.
Wow. To transfer the building, which includes the structure and the ground upon which it sits.
No mineral.
Not to include any of the parking, but to provide an easement for both the clients and staff of the tenant, well, not the tenant, the new owner.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I may be a little bit late with this, but one other question I have, and this is just a question to ponder, is our staff and our clients are going to have to cross the county parking lot. Well, since we're not getting any parking anyway, this may be a moot point, but the question in our shop was, do we need an access easement to get to our building? And then the second question is, right now I know that there is some plumbing issues in the main that runs to the city main that we're going to have to address in our work. Are we going to need an easement to access that, since that will probably occur on your parking lot?
Number one, yes, which we would have to provide anyways, because we can't lock you out of land that you own. I mean, by state law, you can't, you get a right, the easement to access your property. So that will be granted with use of the parking lot by clients and staff. And again, if we need to mark off some space with signage for family tree, staff parking only, again, that's something that we can work out, I think, via cooperation. So the second thing, are you talking about a main that runs under the parking lot?
It runs under the parking parking at the rear of the buildings. It would be on the west parking lot.
Can you show us on this map here, if you don't mind,
I can
please?
show you approximately. Stacy may know this better than I
Oriented
do.
north here, so.
We've got, the main plumbing line to our building comes in or out, somewhere around here, comes out to the parking lot and goes north to Classen. And we've got a collapse or a semi-collapse someplace in that line that, we've got to fix.
Well, that can be granted at the time that,
Yeah.
that the problem's been identified, yeah, and needs to be worked on.
No, the reason I ask is the name for this property and for this property is back here.
Is back here?
Right, so my guess is that line traverses the parking lot to the south and west.
Okay, yeah, and I'm just, what I was going off was the old GSB drawings when the shelter, when it was built. That's what they showed.
I don't anticipate there being any problems with the county working with you on any of that stuff.
Okay.
We want this to happen, so.
Okay.
All right, motion carries. Declared. Item 7, discussion, review, and possible action regarding identification of possible funding sources for the repair of the Statue of Liberty monument on the west side of the courthouse. Estimate of repairs are in my hand, ranges from $3,000 to $7,000. This is something that Stacy has been, did I give you one already? Okay, Stacy has discussed with other members before. We've been contacted by some Boy Scout groups that would like to assist. I'm not sure what kind of assistance that could be, but I'm here thinking that it's probably something that we need to fix. And Steve and I have looked at it off and on, and it looks like it's spreading, am I correct? So it's eventually going to be an issue, probably sooner rather than later.
It's only gonna get worse.
Yeah, so if we address it now, while we have somebody that's willing to help, it'd be a good deal now. I think we can make a suggestion or to PBA, saying we think this is a good project, and we can cap it at this $7,000 if the board so chose. Any discussion?
Where did the statue come from originally?
Boy Scouts of America in 1950.
We've had several of these around the country.
Yeah.
Kind of a kit that Boy Scout projects.
Ours is actually numbered. I don't recall it. Do you recall what the number was?
Would this not fall under the exterior maintenance and whatnot, because there was a lot of things that were kind of encompassed in that? Would it not fit there?
It wasn't really planned there, that fill this building for sitting in only, but that doesn't mean it can't. I don't know.
That's interesting.
So, Miles, did you say that you have been in contact with like the last Frontier Council of
I thought you were saying the last Boy Scout.
No, the...
Great news.
The Commissioner Long has, yes. He's been in touch with either one of the troop leaders or
Yeah.
something along those lines. They want to use, they have the,
It's an Eagle project.
Eagle Project. There you go.
Sure.
I did mine at the GM conference.
Which, yeah, that makes sense. I'm just wondering about the funding, because, for an Eagle project.
The Eagle project, they have to fund
They
it.
have to fund it themselves.
They have to get donations.
Maybe it's not. Is it an Eagle Project or?
You're gonna get a donation.
No, but that's what I'm saying. That's a pretty, again, this is different than putting in, benches at the parks, and, we're talking about something that's pretty significant cost. That's why I'm wondering if we checked with our local council, because they would be able to go halvesies with us, where I'm not gonna put that on a 15 or 16-year-old kid trying to get a Eagle Scout.
Let him earn part of it.
Right,
Well, they may have fixed for it if it was their project originally.
There may, I didn't know if there had been
you have to take these down and take them to a foundry. There's only one in the state.
Well, it's more of a structural issue than an issue with the statute itself.
Yeah, the statute didn't look that
Yeah.
bad, I mean,
Statue looks great, I love the patina.
I need to go out there and look at it, because I thought it was
field trip, let's go.
the statue itself, not so if it's the foundation, that's probably on us, huh? What it's sitting on?
Well, I think it's both. You need to take the statue and have it refurbished. I've got some pictures I can show you, and then the foundation it sits on would be for one of our crews to do.
Well, the item is, maybe, is this your item? Okay. Identification of possible funding sources. Last Frontier Council of the Boy Scouts of America is something that I would identify as a possible funding source for help.
So far I've heard three, PBA, that kind of like Cody's, exterior maintenance.
I agree.
Thanks to Keith and all of his savings.
Well, I say that, but I like Mr. Raw's idea of, if somebody is willing to do this as an Eagle project, and us spending the money may get in the way of them being able to do that. So I think maybe talking to them first to see what they would like to do, and make sure that what we're willing to do is not gonna be an impediment to what they would like to do. And if they can't do it, then we can move one of these other directions. If they can, then we can find out what assistance they can and would like to receive from the county.
I'm sure it's changed a little bit. When I did mine, 21 years ago, but I got funding not only through donations of the product used, but the Jesus House itself did kick in a little bit of money.
Well, and that may be to where we can kick in to do the foundation portion, and they do the statue, or vice versa. I don't know. But
I think that's a great idea. I mean, I think we would like to help out, but I'd like to see if we could identify them as a funding source to help us.
Okay.
And to what it gets.
What? Oh,
There's a process for an Eagle project that goes initially before a board of review.
Correct.
So they'll look at this particular project, what's involved, how in-depth it is, and many technical projects like this are kicked out the door because they don't fit. I think the first call needs to be to the Last Frontier Council to see whether or not this might be something they would reject. So,
Well, specifically the Eagle Council, the Eagle Project Council will be able to tell you, because they have members that sit on it.
We have a contact, we can determine what it is, that won't be a problem.
do you know if it's an Eagle project? Or?
I know all the information I've read is not,
Yeah.
that I don't know for sure.
I would think there may be some way to make a combination of that area around it, maybe an Eagle project, but also a joint project between the county and not an individual scout trying to get his Eagle, but the actual council.
Or a whole troop.
Or a whole troop, or I can imagine many troops. I mean, it's a pretty big deal. That's a lot of money, but, I mean, again, I think that's great. I think it's something that I could see DSA wanting to partner with the county. I know you guys have contacts. I know he's very involved. So I don't know, is that worthy? Do I need to move?
No, I don't think there's
Okay.
anything that needs to be.
I know our IT director is heavily involved in scouting.
Rob Teal, yeah.
So you can always see kids.
I think I'll.
He's a member of the Arrow and everything.
Yep. Yep. Are you gonna make that motion to send Steve to?
I think we could, actually, make a motion to instruct Steve to discuss with Rob too. Dies,
The
no
motion
second.
to talk.
Well, and I think we need to get this done before July 4th of this year, so.
Oh, so we could have an unveiling.
With some fireworks? Okay.
I like it. And when we need fireworks, we got lighting, we can just change the light.
I volunteer to provide fireworks, so someone will get a permit.
the top of the building.
All right.
Thank you, Chairman, for the meeting.
Moving on, new business. Any new business to be heard?
Nothing for me.
Seeing none. Any citizen participation? Seeing none, board comments, Randy?
Nothing for me.
Oh, no, nothing for me.
Move to adjourn.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.